Obama's not entirely stupid. He doesn't want that. And so the bill's going to have to change, but I don't think, Democrats are going to sign up for it. Moderate Democrats are going to sign up for it unless it punishes China in some way.
Now, with regards to the topic we were talking about a few minutes ago, I don't have a problem with the school system teaching sex reproductive-wise, like, how a man can, how we reproduce. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I was taught that in health class.
Yeah, that's part of health and science, maybe, but not. I don't think that they should get into homosexuality and none of that stuff. In my opinion.
What about transgender studies?
The thing about transgender, and Howard brought this up last week, and he made a good point, because he said, he's all for the same thing, Bubba. He said he's all for gay people being gay. And,
yeah.
And that,
I am too.
He said, but when you start crossing to mutilating your body, he said that then you're getting into some, and I agree, some very deep psychological issues.
Well, it's grotesque, and I don't understand why. I think most Americans, I know, because I see the polls, most Americans are at a place where they're like, okay, you're gay, it's not a big deal. I'm not gay, but I'm not mad at you for being gay. I don't think it's evil, okay? People are much more tolerant of homosexuality than they've ever been, and that's the understatement of the day. Why tie that to some tiny 1/100th of 1% subset of Americans, all of whom have mental illness, who decide to cut their genitals off? Like, why would you want to put them in the same group
and why would And why would we want to get these people help? Mental, psychiatric treatment.
If you want to castrate yourself, again, call me a gay hater. I am hardly that. Trust me. But if you want to castrate yourself, I think by definition, you're very, very, very sick.
Let me ask you a question. Vanity Fair, I guess they exposed how much of a narcissist Sarah Palin is. And the McCain staffers, they've been saying things like, she's not equipped now or ever to be president. She threw a temper tantrum because McCain wouldn't give her a concession speech. Is she done? Or, can she actually, win any type of support?
It's funny. I've been in San Francisco for the past couple of days, and then just got off a plane. That piece was written by Todd Purdom, who's my neighbor.
Right.
Of Vanity Fair, and a really good guy.
Why don't you go knock on his door and tell him I want to do an exclusive interview?
Because it's pretty early, and we have kids in the same class. He's a really good guy. But I haven't read the story. I've only read about it on my iPhone when I landed. But apparently it's pretty devastating, and there are a lot of arguments going on still among former McCain staffers. It's just another example of how totally dysfunctional the Republican Party is.
I can't play it in entirety, but I can play a small little excerpt of it. Did you hear when we were right in the thick of things with this bitch running for vice president? Did you ever hear "White Trash Girl"?
No.
Hold on one second. Hold on. Let me see if we can hear this. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait. I'm just going to play a small part of it. Because, Tucker, she's glorified white trash. She really is.
Well, I kind of like that.
White trash girl, she's been living in a redneck world. Her daughter's pregnant from a white trash guy. I thought her mom told her to close her thighs. I'm gonna vote for a white trash girl. She's been living in her white trash world. She's into Jesus Christ and shooting guns. She is a crazy bitch who speaks in tongues. That sounds like fun. She hates abortion. She thinks it's a crime. Her daughter's drinking Corona and lime. Iraq's a war from God. Smoking bod. Crazy broad. She's a white.
All right, you get it. Can you imagine?
Who's saying that?
Manson.
Who is that?
Manson, of course. Can you believe?
Is that Manson, really?
Yeah, that's Manson. Can you believe if we were actually, Brent, heard in the nation's capital, we would be the hit among hits? Because we know we're no longer finable, Brent. That's what everybody was always worried about, us being so dirty. But now, we're just so blatantly honest, and we have such great parody elements about our officials. People would, now let me tell you something, would people of Congress and the Senate just love that sort of thing, Tuck, or what?
I think they would secretly love it, yes. I think they would probably sneak out to the garage, turn on the car, and listen to the show.
Especially when Bush was in office, man, and Manson all of his hands. Remember the Bush Titanic thing? And oh man.
But wait, why don't you guys get on the station here?
Well, because, you know as well as I do, the media is controlled by about 4 companies, and, Clear Channel owns the majority of all, and we're heard in Richmond. But, by the way, we get a new signal upgrade, like, in a couple weeks, Tucker, and we're going to be able to be heard on 100.9 out of Richmond, which supposedly can get, like, up to Tyson's Corner and stuff.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So you might be...
How much negotiation is there in getting new stations to pick up the show?
It's like a triple-edged sword, I like to say, even though one doesn't admit. But you could theoretically make it.
I'm trying to picture a triple-edged sword.
Yeah, it's a sword with an extra sword tied onto it. But it's like nobody wants to take a chance on the most fined guy. Nobody wants to take a chance on the most fined guy in the history of radio. 1, 2, where like Clear Channel hates us. We're in the midst of 2 lawsuits with Clear Channel, so that immediately wipes out 1,300 radio stations.
Yeah.
And then, executives that have left Clear Channel and gone on to work for Citadel and things like that, they're like, we're staying away from that guy. Meanwhile, everywhere we go, we dominate. We dominate everywhere we go. So it's just a matter of time. And then, fourthly, we were hired by Cox, who historically is the most conservative radio company in America, and do well for them.
Now, is Cox family owned?
Yeah. Yeah, we're privately owned.
Wow.
In fact, we had a portion of us, Brent, that was publicly traded, and Cox just bought it. We're doing so well, we bought it back.
That's amazing.
Cox is a well-diversified company, too.
Yeah, Cox is probably the most healthy right now. In a very unhealthy environment, Cox is probably the most healthy radio company. Now, that's not saying a lot in today's ad world, but we're the ones, like for instance, Brent gave me an article about Clear Channel yesterday. Tough news from Clear Channel's hometown paper. The Clear Channel hometown newspaper, the San Antonio Express News, writes in this story, the signal from Clear Channel Communications radio empire may be fading out. Writes that in its business sections, when holding company CC Media Holdings, Inc. Announced earlier this month it wanted to reposition debt between its radio and billboard units, lenders from last year's massive private equity acquisition of Clear Channel signaled their intention to block the move. I mean, they're having Clear Channel's either going to probably have to spin about half of their companies, which is actually good for radio because it can now get back to maybe, affluent men and women and what they would call mom and pop ownerships, outside of the big 5 owners, get it back into the private sector of people owning media outlets, which is good for the industry because it gives more opportunities for people in the industry to work with this Clear Channel, Citadel, Cox, CBS, type situation. They do all this voice tracking and all this importation, and it basically eliminates a lot of local broadcast jobs.
That's just depressing. I mean, but so you think that out of the chaos right now, something better will emerge? I
think something better will emerge, and as we keep doing well and not getting fined and keep winning and winning and winning and doing well in large markets like Miami and then win outside of Florida, like that's the biggest knock on. Oh, they can't win outside of Florida. I'm like, hey, dildo. For 2.5 years, we were heard, and we still are heard over the entire country. We went to Las Vegas and we've sold out every venue we've ever performed
at. The Trump Taj Mahal.
We sold out the Trump Taj Mahal. 3,100 people, and that's Atlantic City, jackass. That's well outside of Florida, you homo. But you can't say these cities' radio executives because you're trying to kiss in their ass.
That's funny.
Hey, Tuck,
it's just. I don't know. It's just such a nasty business.
Well, Tuck, I was going to ask you. The other day, I got the opportunity to finally see that movie by Oliver Stone, W, which to me was like one of the funniest, greatest movies ever. And did you get a chance to see that movie at all?
No, I never saw it. No, I mean, I lived it. I mean, I was here for 8 years.
It's a weird thing because the movie, I mean, apparently from everything that everybody says is it's very true to life, and it's pretty much how it went down.
But it didn't do well, and it got buried in the movie
Well,
theaters.
It did well for the first couple weeks, and then people lost interest in it. But it's one of those movies that you almost watch it and you go, gee, I don't know if Bush should I feel bad for him because he's that stupid?
Yeah, I walked away from that feeling bad for Bush.
Tucker, it was George W. Bush. And, you say it like it is. You don't care.
Yeah.
Was he that stupid?
Well, he wasn't that. Nobody could be that stupid.
Well, I mean, it's almost like he surrounded himself with such evil people that directed him in
Bush
bad
was
ways.
Not terribly smart, but I think the cliches are true. I think he was incredibly insecure. I think he's got hang-ups with his parents. I think that